Hello, I'm going to try to cover AutoSpotting real quick so that you can get an idea on how it can help you with your cloud infrastructure. So why AutoSpotting? AutoSpotting is all about making it easy for you to use Spot instances with all the benefits of, let's say, the alternative saving options, which is RIs and savings plans. So it's comparable with a 3 years all upfront RI or savings plan, but without the time commitment and also the upfront payment that you have to pay. And also it covers the ebbs and flows of your capacity. So it's not just for the baseline that you can cover with a savings plan or RI. And there were a few issues I've seen at the alternatives when I first started to work on AutoSpotting, and they are still happening today. So you have all these solutions coming from AWS, but also from third-party providers that have a bunch of issues when it comes to, for example, the native integration of auto-scaling groups doesn't compensate when you lose the spot capacity. So you're going to have reduced capacity or even outage when spot capacity is claimed back by AWS. And when it comes to adopting at scale spot instances, you have to drive a lot of configuration changes throughout your infrastructure, and that can be hard to do in large organizations. And when it comes to alternatives from other vendors, they're similarly hard to adopt at scale, or even harder because of procurement issues. Also, the configuration changes are even more. They typically use custom constructs instead of the auto-scaling groups. And you have also the security concerns. So sometimes they get all your access to your infrastructure entirely, like an admin access, and you have to convert everything to their infrastructure model, which has a lot of vendor lock-in and stickiness. You cannot get back to the initial setup without doing the same amount of investment you did when you adopted them. And also they are costly. They charge anywhere from 15 to 60% of the savings, depending on the option and the configuration they have. And that can be quite a lot of money and will often negate all the benefits of saving in the first place with spot instances. So how is AutoSpotting better? I tried to tackle all these issues as my main goals when I wrote AutoSpotting. When it comes to reliability, I try to implement all the spot best practices fully automated. So you get the diversification automated based on your existing configuration. So I have logic that does instance type selection based on what you have already. There is failover to on-demand instances when you lose the spot capacity, so you don't have to run reduced capacity or even have an outage when spot capacity is no longer available. But then when spot capacity comes back, you want to get back to using it. So AutoSpotting will start again spinning up spot capacity when it becomes available again. And you can get started in minutes rather than months, which can be the case with third-party vendors. You don't need any business contract. You just search for it on the Amazon console, and you can install it from the AWS marketplace within a few minutes. There is support for both CloudFormation and Terraform, and you can use anything you want for configuration based on tags. And it can take over any of your existing auto-scaling groups, even without any launch template changes. It also supports large configurations if you still have such environments. You can enable it and disable it anytime with a single tag change. You just have to set spot enabled equal true, or you can use also any of the tags you already have. You can also run it in opt-out mode, which means it takes over all the auto-scaling groups from your account unless they are tagged with spot enabled false. So basically that's all you need. You just have to set a tag, and it will take over and run with that tag. There is no vendor lock-in because it uses plain auto-scaling groups and does not touch their configuration. So if you go and uninstall AutoSpotting, the groups will keep running as they are. Eventually they will revert back to on-demand capacity over time as their spot capacity is lost, but you don't have to reconfigure anything to get back to the initial configuration. When it comes to security and privacy, it runs entirely in your AWS account, so there's no SaaS backend that knows everything about your workload, and because nothing about your environment leaves your Amazon account. So everything is running in your account. There is just a small set of IAM permissions that it needs in order to work, and I do my best whenever I do a change to keep it minimalistic, so it doesn't require admin-like permissions unless it's absolutely needed. When it comes to the costs, it just charges up to 5% of the hourly savings through the AWS Marketplace, which is way less than what you get from other vendors. The way it works, it charges you 1/10 of a cent for each 2 cents that it saves you, and it bills hourly. Basically, if it's below that 2 cents per hour, it will be free of charge, and that will cover you if you want to test it out with maybe a T3 small instance. And there are multiple instances that qualify. I have a cost calculator where you can see whether your instances are fit to the free tier, so you can see for yourself. It's also free between those multiples of 2 cents an hour. So if you have a number of instances that maybe save 3.5 cents an hour, you will only be charged for the first 2 cents, and so on. I'm going to talk a bit about suitable workloads. So you have to be using auto-scaling groups, no matter how they are configured. So you may be using AMIs, you may be using containers. Your applications need to start quickly on new instances, let's say in less than 5 minutes. The applications have to be stateless, and it's recommended to have at least 2 instances per group to avoid situations where spot capacity is claimed and then you run out of capacity because you just had one of the spot instances in the group. The typical workload is stateless web apps and APIs. It works great also for Kubernetes node groups, for ECS, for Beanstalk. Anything pretty much backed by auto-scaling works. And to get started, you just have to search for AutoSpotting on the Amazon console, as I was saying before, and you install it from the marketplace, so it will find it there. And then you just have to click continue to subscribe, and then further a few more clicks, and then you get a CloudFormation stack, CloudFormation template, so you can install it from CloudFormation. There's also basically you can follow the UI from CloudFormation, but also once you get to that step, you can just run one command and everything happens within a few minutes. You get it running in your account, and then you just have to go and enable it for the groups by using tags. By default, it's spot enabled, and you have to set it to true, but it can also use tags that you already have. And for tagging, you can use anything you have, like infrastructure as code. You can use the console, or I'm probably going to write a tool to make it easier to tag your groups at scale. And to run it in opt-out mode, it can also take anything but some groups tagged with, for example, spot enable equals false, which can also be overridden with something that you already have. So that will allow it to take everything from your account. And I've seen customers that did that at very large scale, and literally overnight converted like half their infrastructure to spot without any configuration changes. Something that would be unthinkable if you're using any of the alternatives. And then when you test your application, what you can do is you just use the console to trigger spot terminations with a few clicks, so that you can see how it behaves. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And looking forward to seeing your feedback. If you have any feedback about it, just reach out to me over Slack.